What's up, guys? Trail here, better known as Budget Bill, and this is your second stimulus check update and stimulus package update for Monday, October the 26th. I hope all of you will have a beautiful week this week as we enter into the last week before the presidential election. We have come a long way this year as 2020 will go down in history as the worst year ever. And on top of that, we have a presidential election where both candidates are going at each other like pit bulls. It doesn't matter which side you are on at this point, but if you are like me, I will be so glad when this is all over. But we are not here to talk about that. We are here to talk about how the House Speaker is still not giving up on passing a stimulus bill before the election and still holding strong onto that $2.2 trillion price tag. Also, we heard from the White House Chief of Staff, and apparently the White House is no longer going to be controlling the pandemic. And then whether or not the president will be issuing an executive order. Those are just some of the topics that we are going to cover today. But before we get started, if you could like this video and subscribe to the channel, it definitely means a lot and it's completely free to do so. Also, click the notification bell to be notified of each new video that I upload. And if you want an opportunity to get 2 free stocks worth up to $1,600, all you have to do is download the Webull investing app using the link down below. Then deposit $100 into your account. Those 2 free stocks will be worth a minimum of $8 each and up to $1,600. If you do decide to join, let me know down in the comments section on which stocks you actually received for free. In addition, if you think that Congress should get off their pass this bill this week and send you your stimulus checks, then go ahead and smash that like button and let's try to get this video to 500 likes before the day is over. So here we are in the last full week before the presidential election, and we are still waiting furiously on a second stimulus package deal between the White House administration and the House Democrats. It appears that we keep getting the runaround on when we can expect to receive a $1,200 stimulus check and why both sides can agree on items within the stimulus package. Either way, the House Speaker Nancy Pelosi was on CNN on Sunday, and she still remains optimistic of getting a stimulus deal done by Election Day. Now, she is referring to a stimulus deal, not for stimulus checks to be sent out to American people by Election Day. I believe that they have already passed that deadline, but she still hopes to get the deal passed prior to Election Day. And yes, she is still standing strong on her $2.2 trillion price tag, while the White House recently increased their offer from $1.8 trillion to now $1.9 trillion. Now, it appears that we still have about 3 key areas in which both sides are unable to come to an agreement on and hoping to get those issues ironed out this week. Treasury Secretary has finally returned back to the U.S. on Friday and back in the mix of negotiations with Nancy Pelosi. While Mnuchin was traveling, Chief of Staff Mark Meadows was handling the negotiations with Pelosi, which seemed to have taken a different approach in the talks on a second stimulus deal. Last week, Mark Meadows talked about how the White House and the House Democrats are in the final phase, which agreeing on a stimulus deal, and last week they were able to move the ball down the field. So that was obviously some good news, but will it hold up when it's time to get the job done? And then on Sunday morning, Nancy Pelosi was on CNN speaking with Jake Tapper, and she was asked, why doesn't she just accept the offer on the table, and how other House Democrats are urging her to just accept the deal now. Pelosi responds and says, our friends out there are suffering. Our working families are suffering. Millions of people are now in poverty. In November, more than 9,000 women actually left the workforce. worse. So we have to act now and do something about it to help those individuals out. And to do anything that does not crush the virus would have no value whatsoever. And then she went on to say that how they are in the stages where they have put the pen to the paper, and she sent over the final paperwork to the White House administration on Friday and expects to receive that information back sometime today. So the ball right now is in the court of the White House. So hopefully the White House will get back with Nancy Pelosi sometime today with that information that she has requested, along with the language changes in the stimulus bill to be returned this week as well. Once they return these language changes, the verbiage should be more in line with both House Democrats and Senate Republicans, and ultimately move the stimulus ball down the field. Pelosi did say that 55% of the language has already been changed, but still waiting for the remaining changes. And then Jake Tapper asked Pelosi, when is the drop dead deadline for the parents homeschooling to get this help from the second stimulus package? She didn't exactly give a specific date, but she did say that this is why they need more money in the bill to support these schools. And she said that kids should be safe in school, which is why they need more money for more technology, more separation, more ventilation, and for the teachers. But overall, Pelosi said that we are ready right now. They are ready to sign this deal, but they are waiting for more support for these types of things to be agreed upon in the stimulus package. So Nancy Pelosi is expecting to receive some responses from Steve Mnuchin and Mark Meadows on today, Monday, in regards to the list of things that she sent over last week. So we will have to see if the White House responds or not this week. I told you guys on a previous video how House Democrats are getting frustrated with how Nancy Pelosi is handling the negotiations. They feel like she has been winning all along and has received multiple offers from the White House, and still she won't accept a verbal offer. But on the flip side, Pelosi is saying that the White House says that they are going to do one thing and then they change their mind later. So it appears that they are making all the right moves to bridge the gap between the two sides, but the Republicans keep moving their projected changes. But she also repeats again that they could see a stimulus deal this week if all things go well. But I believe at this point, the American people are not falling for it anymore, Pelosi. We had a 48-hour deadline from you last week, and then we had a 48-hour deadline from Mark Meadows last week, and now both of those are past the deadlines with no stimulus deal agreement made or even close to it. It seems like these politicians just keep pushing us along day by day, as it appears that they are doing a lot of work day and night. But the American people are no longer buying it. We realize that you guys are just stalling before the election day. Now, the good thing about it is that we only have 9 more days, and maybe we can move forward with a stimulus package after we find out who the next president will be for the next 4 years. If we don't strike a deal before election day, I believe it will definitely happen after we know exactly who will be the next president. Now, in other news, we had Mark Meadows speaking with several news stations on Sunday, and he stated that the U.S. is not going to control the virus pandemic. His exact words was that he told Jake Tapper on CNN was, "We are not going to control the pandemic. We are going to control the fact that we can get vaccines, therapeutics, and other mitigation areas." Then Tapper asked him, why isn't the White House going to get this pandemic under control? Meadows stated that this virus is a contagious virus and it's just like the flu. He said that Trump's administration is making efforts to contain it. But what we need to do now is to make sure that we have the proper mitigation factors in place, therapies or vaccines or treatments to make sure people don't die from this deadly virus. Wow. So does this mean that the White House has given up on fighting the virus and only looking for ways to treat people after they have already been infected? Wow. I don't recall any of the other countries just giving up on the virus. Seems like they fought the virus head on. So, as the U.S. just reported its second highest day of new virus cases of nearly 84,000 Americans contracting the virus, the White House has decided to just focus on the treatment of cases in our country. So that means we are going to accept and agree to having the virus here permanently. And in that case, does that mean Americans will have a hard time traveling to other countries, as several countries like Hawaii have limited the amount of tourists from the U.S. until we can get the spread of the virus under control? But if the White House is no longer focusing on stopping the virus, will this stop international travel from others coming into our country as well? Could this actually hurt our economy with this response from Mark Meadows? We'll just have to see how this plays out, especially as this gives the Democrats more ammunition with stimulus negotiations and the presidential election in November. Now, in other news, there are some rumors that President Trump is thinking about issuing an executive order. I don't know how much this is true, but they are saying that Trump needs to do something now. The polls are showing not in favor of President Trump right now, with leaving Biden with a large gap to fill. And if President Trump can issue an executive order to get these bigger stimulus checks out to the American people, would definitely give him the boost that he needs right now. The polls are showing a double-digit difference between both candidates, and an executive order could bridge the gap in the polls. President Trump has already said that he wants bigger stimulus checks than the Democrats do. He already urged his Republican Party that they should go big or go home regarding the stimulus. And he stated before that he wishes Congress would just send him a bill to his desk right now for only stimulus checks that he would immediately sign. If so, those checks could be immediately sent out to the American people. So ultimately, an executive order right now would definitely give the president the boost that he needs. But on the flip side, most of us don't even believe in the poll numbers anymore after the hiccup in 2016. So perhaps no one is even paying attention to the numbers in this election. Also, if the polls are correct with a double-digit lead with Biden, I'm not sure an executive order this close to the election day would actually do the trick, as there have been a breaking records of people who have already early voted in comparison to the previous years. Up until this past weekend, there have been 58.6 million early voters, which have surpassed the 2016 early and absentee voting numbers. So an executive order couldn't help to change those votes that have already been casted. It would only affect those who are still on the fence of who they are going to vote for. But what do you guys think? Do you think that it would be wise for the president to issue an executive order to at least cover those $1,200 stimulus checks to the American people right now? Or do you think that he should just wait for that to be included in the stimulus package deal? Do you think that those stimulus checks right now would influence voters on the fence to vote for him? Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Other than that, hey, I hope to have another update for you midday today, as I will try to keep you guys up to date on any stimulus news developments. Outside of that, if you found value in this video, please give it a like. Also, be sure to subscribe to the channel so you can be a part of it. Other than that, hey, I appreciate you guys stopping by and watching, and I hope to see you on the next video. Peace.